So just to see, as we are going right now live on YouTube, we will share with you the link. So welcome everyone. So let us know where you're listening up from, and we'll be sharing with you more information about who we are, where we are from. Yes, I'm here, I'm Anne, and I'm hearing you from AG Network Kigali, Rwanda. Thank you for that. I'm happy to have you here on board. I can see we also have from South Africa, Pretoria. Thank you so much for joining us. Cape Town, South Africa, well represented. Share with your friends so that they can be able to join us. We are also live on African Women in Trade channel. You will be seeing all our work there as well. So today is a day where we have the youth presenting their work, and we are so excited of them being part of us and engaging with us all through, especially helping us women and bringing up the best out of the packages of between women and youth. As you all know, Africa Women in Trade is for not only for the women, it's also for the youth under 35 years. And we have been working together closely, and today their webinar is specifically to do with that, sharing us about their work and what they have been doing for the past few the first month. As we all know, we've launched in just a few days. So thank you so much, those ones who are listening to us. I can see Kenya is also here. Mercy Sino, welcome. Let me know where you're listening us from. Also on YouTube, we would love to hear more where you're listening us from. And if you're here, one of the administrators there will share the YouTube link as well here so that we can all be enlightened of the discussion for today. So just to get us started, I'm just going to give you an overview who we are and what we are doing at the moment. And I'll be sharing my screen to inform you a little bit of what we have been up to. And we have so much planned, especially with the youth. We have youth in the mind, and we are really looking forward to making sure that we are able to work with you as much as we can in the future and as well as now. So I'm having a little bit trouble to share the screen, but I will be doing that in a short while. And between now and then, I would love to know whether all our guests are here. We are also having issues from South Africa. I know internet is not always on your side. Sometimes we have issues. Sometimes it's perfect. It's all technology, and we are all living with it to the day to day. And in between, I want to hear more about you listeners, where you're listening us from. Let us know where you're listening from so that we can engage with you as much as possible and get to know you as well and what you're doing. And also share with us where your websites as well. We are happy to know where you are listening us from. So African Women in Trade, as I prepare the platform, it was launched in January, and the whole aim is to make sure that we can connect with the Africa women on the ground as one of the product of Africa Women in Europe. As you can see on my back screen, I'm the founder of African Women in Europe, and my name is Joy Tense. And it was an initiative of us. How can we go back and give back to the community of what we have been doing in the past years, share our experiences, and support African women in trade as well as youth. And from there, we decided we are going to go straight and support you in terms of projects and continue with so many things that we have seen in the past that you have been doing amazing work. And from the members, we talk to the members, ask them what support do they need from our side. And we noticed there's so much that we could support. And we were lacking just a little bit of support to know which areas to go. So from there, we came up with several pillars to see, and we asked you, as we said, we are design thinking. We want to work with our women and youth on the ground, knowing their challenges so that we can really be able to support. And so out of that, we were able to find out that you all need so many support, but the pillar one that we saw was mainly to do with a capacity building, a lot of training, information, which was a very important one, and I'll be sharing with you with that. And information was the key of so much that we needed to do with all of you. And at the end of the day, we did have quite a lot of support from you, and from there we noticed the market access was a big issue as well. And from basically starting from simple things like getting your product out. Sorry, I can see the SharePoint is coming up now. You can see what I'm talking about with the pillars and who we are. So this is one of the projects, one of the information that we wanted to share with all of you, sharing with you exactly what our program was aiming at. So at the end of all these survey that we did with all the women on the ground, and I also mentioned to you our story where we all started from African women in trade was created by the need of African women in Europe, and I mentioned to you much earlier because this was our aim of the agenda after the 10th anniversary. African women in Europe has been there for over 15 years, and we were really looking forward to support. So we have two projects, and one of them is the African Women in Trade. And our vision is to create a platform to connect, enable African women and youth to trade an Africa Continental Free Trade Area. As I told you, Africa Continental Free Trade Area was started in January, and it was the best vehicle as us diaspora to hop in. And I can tell you, it's a vehicle we are looking forward to work with them very closely and following up the rules and the regulations. And our mission also is to create a network where African women and youth can access information regarding Africa Continental Free Trade Area, providing market access, and that is regional, global level of, and offer capacity building and financial access through grants and investments. And I can tell you all these projects are going on as we speak. And these are the pillars we are going to be focusing on according to your feedback, according to your wishes as the African women in trade and the youth. So we have been sharing with you a lot of information, and if you are one of our members, you get this information publicly every day. There's a lot of webinars going on, a lot of information about Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and we want you not to miss out. So this is one of the one thing that we do a lot, market access, and I'll be showing you a case that we actually managed to do, support some of you who are doing great work, and you're going to do that also in the future. Investments as well, we have already over 10 people already we are working on to find for them investments to grow their business, to scale up, so that they're ready for a market. And capacity building is one of them that we are also working very closely also with our own platform, our academy, as well as working with other organizations. Some of you have had SheTrade has been giving you a lot of training, and they will be here as well giving you this information as well in the future. And we are really excited about these projects because they're going to be helping us, all of us, to grow to the next level after our 9 months knowing each other, getting to learn about each other. So our areas of interest, as you can see, is agriculture, export, import, finance, women, of course, and the youth program, construction and manufacturing industry, and as well as technology. So it's something that we are really focusing on right now, and especially with the agribusinesses. So if you're one of you, you should be joining us on our platform and getting to know more about us. So this is one of the cases I wanted to show you as we speak of today. We launched in January. We can successfully tell you we are already having products already here in Europe. We know these are low-hanging fruit. We are targeting more intra-trade marketing in the continent, but you're working quite a lot as well. But before that, since you're here in Europe, we are able to market your products. So we have coffee from Kenya. We're very proud of the Eva coffee. Now, as you can see, it has our logo on. Very proud of it. Came here very smelling very nicely. We have to check the logistics. We have to now to look for the market for it, branded, packed, everything in Africa, because we all want to make sure all these products you see here, especially with the master tea from Nigeria, they're all packed and value added already in the continent. So our idea is to make sure that we bring products that are already packaged and build a supply chain that is going to be sustainable globally as well. So these are already a good success we want to share with you. We also have so many services that are coming up. I'll be sharing this document with you as well. It's very new. This is the updated version of this year as for the African women in trade, so that we can move faster, targeting and a focused, very, very focus-oriented organization. So we have a team that are working behind us, and the team is ever growing. We have Kenya, we have Rwanda team, we have South Africa, and the youth, and Ghana, as well as Rwanda. And all these ladies, as you can see, and gentlemen, they have been presenting webinars and what are trading opportunities in these countries in the past months. So check out on that on our YouTube channel, and you can see quite informative information for you. And this will be going on again in the future as we continue with more conferences for you. Of course, we have partners. We are working very close with the African market in Europe. That's where we are putting your products as soon as we are able to certify that your products are really quality, ready for Europe market. And we also are working with partners like Pan Africa, SMEs Network, Jumia Logistic, very working towards how we can make sure the products reach you in the continent from South Africa to Kenya to all the way to Nigeria, that these logistic parts which is a big issue at the moment, are working. So we are working on finding new partnership with that, and more partnerships are coming as we speak right now. So we have new projects that are coming up. I want you to check out on this. We have the new project that's called Women and Youth Program. We realize some of you, your projects are women who haven't put your products into formal, they're still informal. We need to put that in very formal so that we are able to market for you, and as well as present your businesses. We know you have great products. So this program will be working with the youth, creating jobs for the youth, and the women in business are going to be taking advantage of this program because their product will be put now into the digital market. They will be able to be put formalized, be able to put their pitch deck, and as well as strategies, including your business plan in case of investments. This is something that we have noticed since we've been trying to support you. We have a hiccup. Women, we need to pull up our socks, and that's why we put this program. Why look everywhere else? Yet the support is within us. The youth are well informed, well organized. They can help our women to also move to the next level, to the formal level. So this is also good. And also we are also excited about the expo. Some of you are hearing maybe today we'll be having our AWT Expo in 2022. This will be in South Africa. Yes, they have really worked very hard to make sure that we are all coming to this platform. And this will be giving you more information and how you can take part of. This will be our first one. So we are looking forward to meet you in person, and something that I'm also excited also to meet all of you as well. So we're going to having an e-magazine where we publicize your products as well. This is also coming up. We'll be giving you more information on that, and we are in quite a lot of opportunities. So how you can reach us and how you can register with us, africawomenintrade.com. You can reach us at africawomenintrade@gmail.com. And to be a member, we require you a membership with a lifetime membership. So this is our first part, to make sure we are working with serious people who are ready to go to move. And as you can see, we are moving very fast, and don't be left out. So I'm not going to take up so much of the time of today for the youth program, and just a highlight for you. I'm going to hand over to the guest of today, and I thank you everyone for really making time to be on part of this here with us today, and being a contribution for this. And if you are watching this from YouTube, share with your friends so that we can be able to reach more people outside there. So I'm going to hand over the show today to the youth, African Women in Trade youth, who are out there and doing amazing work. And to show us the presentation for today, I'm going to invite Madam Nokutula Shange to the stage. She's the moderator of today, together with Oliver, and they will be helping us to go through the project, the topics of today. So if you're there, please unmute yourself and put your camera on, and I'm looking forward to hearing more of the youth, what they have to tell us today. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great, great. Thank you for making time. How are you?
I am good. How are you, Joy?
I'm very great. How is South Africa?
South Africa is a very nice place to be. I'm not gonna lie. Even though we have challenges due to COVID, but yeah, it's a very nice place to live at.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm going to hand over to you so that you can take us through the program of today. And I'm so excited to hear more what you have to present. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. I'm live from South Africa to the rest of the world. Hello, and a very welcome to Africa Women in Trade Youth Webinar. Again, I'm your host for today, Notula Shange, and I will be with you for the next 2 hours to share a bit on today's topic. You must know that a recent UN study revealed that about 20 million jobs are at risk on the continent as a result of the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Let alone my country, South Africa. The unemployment rate is currently sitting on 34.4%. It's still going to get worse. It is a crisis, Nevertheless, our webinar for today, will serve as a light, to build the Africa that we all want. I have an amazing lineup of speakers, great speakers who will be sharing their insights on this topic, and for us to find a way forward. Well, our first speaker for today is Peter Ndahiro, a social entrepreneur with a mission to help humanity bring out its best through advocacy, starter, and supporting social enterprises. Over the next 30 minutes, Peter will be sharing great insights on the issue. But for you as well, you have an opportunity to post questions. So keep them coming up on the chat box, and later on, I'll be picking question, for our speakers. So Mr. Peter, are you ready to present your presentation?
Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome. The attention is all yours.
And greetings to everyone on the call. It's a pleasure to have you and to present to you today. Let me share my screen. You can wait for me for some few seconds to upload my screen on the here. Hello, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Peter, we can see your screen.
You can see the screen.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. So today's discussion is going to be centered around how the youth are going to be at the front line of transforming agriculture and agribusiness systems in Africa. So why do I think so, or what made me talk about this? Let us have a close look to the statistics that I have put forward. Did you know that according to the UN report, youth in Africa constitutes 19% of the global youth, making 226 million, and by 2030 it is predicted to have increased by 42%. As you can see, again, African population as a whole is very young, with 60% of the entire continent aged between 25, making the African continent the youngest. Narrowing down to Rwanda, my home country, the median age is 19 years, according to the National Institute of Statistics. So, as you can see, we are the people, we are the next generation to take up the lead of our elderly parents. So, what do you think? Everything, whether the pandemic, whether the challenges that are happening, of which Noctura was talking about, it is all in our hands. It is all in our hands, and we are called upon to take actions of what we can do to solve the challenges that are happening and to see how we can leverage on the available opportunities. But however, on these statistics, these other shocking statistics of which shows like how the education is going to be. As you can see from 2020 or to 2030, only 50% will be the ones who will have covered at least primary and lower secondary education. So if you can see, these are the people who at least can read and write, and only 29% of the people are the ones who are going to be able to graduate from the upper secondary and tertiary education. So what do you think for this number, for these 50% who are not going to cover for the tertiary education, where do you think would be if the kind of education is going to stay like this? Again, I would argue if this statistics was made before the COVID pandemic hit, I think even the statistics would go even way below. So you can think of what is going to happen for the youth and for the people who are not getting the access to go to school. From what you can maybe, if you look back when the COVID came, you know how schools were closed for so long and people couldn't go to school. So all this is what is happening to the youth and to the education system. So looking back again to another sector, now I want to be talking about agriculture. Uh, Agriculture remains stunted again here in Africa. Only 24% of the GDP to the continent, despite having 60% of the world's arable land. The continent spends 25%, 25 billion annually importing food. And it is still considered the hungry continent with all these massive resources. Coming to Rwanda, in Rwanda, agriculture contributes 30% of the GDP since 2017, and with all this massive population like being dependent on agriculture, they still contribute only 30%. So you might ask what could be the challenge that is leading to the stuntedness that I'm seeing, that I'm projecting to you. So here are the challenges that leads to this startedness that you can see. One, there is aging group with limited skills. The average age of a farmer here in Rwanda, it is 45 years old, and when we look at the global scale, at the African scale, it is 50 years old. These are the people who didn't go to study about the kind of agriculture and the modern way of farming at school. They are not connected to internet to learn more of what others are doing. And again, they don't have any other support system aside from some of the programs arranged by NGOs, and they are there for some few minutes and for some few years, and they go, leading to very little sustainability of the program. Another thing, this leads to low productivity, fragmented markets of what they produce, and lack of data of what is needed on the market and what can be, and how what is needed on the market can be produced efficiently and with the quality that is needed in the market. Another thing, they are unable to secure loans and investment due to the challenge that they don't do code, they don't do any bookkeeping. For any business to thrive, it has to thrive based on recording of how they have been working in the past month and how they can improve in the next month. These records are the ones that you can even take to the banks, showing how you are profitable, how you have grown from one point to another. So, but this is not the case for the farming system in Africa. And with this challenge, they can't even attract any investment from a bank or any financial institution. Another thing that is inability to attract youth in the sector. The youth having developed seeing their elderly people who didn't go to school being the ones to do this kind of farming, they have this myth that the farming is done by people who are disadvantaged, like these people who didn't go to school, they are the ones who are supposed to do the thing. Yet, this is a myth that we should unlearn as the youth if we are able to, if we want to produce and serve our countries and be able to even export to the neighboring countries and in the Western world and feed the whole continent. So, as you can see, it's a blended challenge of agriculture development and youth unemployment that is happening. What if I told you that one of the challenges is a solution to the other, and this challenge can work together to solve each other, like with the youth? Like, what if I told you with the youth, we the youth are the ones to change this narrative of unproductivity, of all these challenges that we are seeing in agriculture? Would you be intrigued to know how this thing is going to work? So if you're really curious about what is going to happen, so I would request you to stay tuned on what we are going to talk about. And I would like to use our startup agriculture growth network as a case study on what we have been doing, although it is not that big, but at least it presents like a blueprint of what if all Africans or youth in different regions of Africa can do to alleviate poverty and to feed their nations and be able to even expand to the other continents. So here I present to you our Agriculture Growth Network, and as you can see, our main focus is transforming ordinary farmers into smart farmers. So who do we call ordinary farmers? These are the kind of farmers we are seeing in Africa. These kind of farmers who do subsistence farming. They are not using the modern way of farming. They don't do bookkeepings for what they do. And they are not aware of what is needed on the market before it is produced. So, since I have told you what is an ordinary farmer, I need to also tell you what a smart farmer looks like on Earth. Sorry. Sorry. Yes. So here is how we are transforming. Here is how we define a modern farmer or a smart farmer. One is the ability to know what the market needs, and he is able to predict his farming return on investment. Another way, he applies best agronomic practices and work with qualified agronomists in order to know that he's using the right seeds, he's using the quality chemicals, and he's using the right fertilizers to produce a product that is healthy and of good quality that matches the standard of the market. Another thing, he keeps the records of his or her seasonal production and sells in a structured and shareable manner. This is going to solve the challenge of farmers that are facing in showing what they can do or what they have been doing. This is challenge that mostly the farming or agribusiness industry is facing. They can't really show what they have been doing. Yes, they can show their farms, but if you ask how much did you do, can you show me a record of what you have been doing so far? This is nothing. They don't have wire to show, and this is really a big challenge that we think building these smart farmers is going to bring a very big profit to them and to the entire continent. So I think you would be intrigued to know how we are transforming these ordinary farmers into smart farmers. Let me go to the next slide. I see changing the slides is becoming a problem for me. Sorry, I see my slides are. So this is how we are transforming these ordinary farmers into smarter farmers. One is the democratization of education. Another one is providing market access and data and engaging the next generation of farmers, the youth who have seen like they make up the bigger population, into this trillion-dollar industry as the World Bank has shown. So, going deep into democratization of premium up-to-date agriculture and agribusiness is through the blend of technology and physical model farms. We are able to bring up the skills of which people who have been able to have the privilege of going to universities and secondaries, getting deep down to the people who can't afford to go to the universities, and now they can get these skills through their mobile platforms and through with blended with the physical model farms where they can visit the model farms to learn how to have a hands-on experience on what is being done on the farm. Another thing is field schools and peer-to-peer learning. Here is where we match you with the commercial farmer who has been experienced for years, and you can learn on how he's doing his farms, and you can get connected with farmers not only in your country or in your region, but even in other regions or in other continents, and you can exchange knowledge on what you need to do, on what is the latest skills or latest knowledge that is being applied in other continents to your farm, like to exchange the knowledge. Another is the coaching and monitoring of agriculture and agribusiness cooperatives. This way, these kind of people who have got to learn, and they have like the capability to go and share, to go and give back to our parents who sometimes don't afford to go to these smartphones that you can see. Now they can go to give back to their parents through cooperatives and learn on these kind of skills, on these modern skills that others are experiencing, and have hands-on experience on the updated knowledge, which is kind of different from what they have been receiving, because they were kind of locked in their region with the people whom they grew up with. But now with the technology and the youth, they can be able to tap into the knowledge of others and of what is happening around the world. So another point is market access and providing data information to support smart farmers practices. One point of how we do it is reliable market access through contract farming and market exposure to other big buyers through our marketplace. So now, because you have brought them together and they can get to know what is needed on the market, we help them to sign a contract with the buyers. Now they can farm knowing the right quantity needed on the market, the quality and the time when the product is needed. This will help the farmers or anyone in agribusiness to know the amount of money needed and how much is going to get back. Another thing, through the marketplace, farmers can track their productivity. They can track when the produce is not, when the peak is high and when it is low, when to invest more and when to invest less. Again, on what I said before, is through our inbuilt software and our mobile app, like they can track the real-time production and sales data. The the businesses can even get it to pre-order the product before it is produced, so that they can, even the exporters or the importers can, like, within this month, I am sure I will be having this kind of production, this amount of production from farmer A and B, and this farmer is going to be secured because now he's not producing to within thin air, like not knowing where he's going to sell his produce. Another point that I told you is engaging the next generation into the field. So one of the things that we are doing is the advocacy and advertising the profitability of the agriculture to the youth. As you can see, as I started, according to the African Development Bank, agriculture is projected to be $1 trillion industry in the next 10 years, that is 2030. So this is an opportunity that we are telling to the youth, even who are here on the call, to come and grasp and take up this opportunity. You are the one to get up into this thing. It's not that you have taken these skills, you have learned maybe managerial stuff, you have learned IT. There is a way you can use your skill in agriculture. There is a way you can use it to enhance this this industry. As you can see, agriculture is one of the versatile industry. It has a lot of things that you can do. It's not alone in the primary production of where you go to farming and do what and what. There is a lot in production, there is a lot in logistics, there is a lot in marketing. All these are skills that are needed in the industry to develop and to make you earn a living as a person who has devoted your time to the industry. Another thing, we want to try and minimize the barriers youth face in joining the agriculture and agribusiness. And one of the key barriers that we are seeing is they don't have access to land and to capital. And one way of which we are trying to do this, and we can make you, the people who are on the call, maybe emulate or exchange ideas, is through bringing the youth together. Now they can bring their little money that they have. Now, if maybe $100 can't be invested in agriculture, so if we bring maybe 10 youth to come together, now they are going to be making 1,000, and this is an investment that can be made with this youth. Now they can be able to rent the land, they can be able to produce, they can be able to access the market. So with youth coming together, it minimizes the barriers, and when they get exposed to the environment and they come together, even in the finance, even in any support and capacity building they might need, it becomes easier for them to receive, other than each individual person being alone. Another thing we are doing is supporting agriculture and agribusiness projects of the youth at an affordable cost. This is through, like, exposing them to investors and helping them, like, through our applications that we have talked about, to know how much they are earning, to know how much they can produce, and to help them get the potential markets from inside the country or outside. So, as I might have told you, this is all that we want to do, but here is what we have so far achieved and we have done. Yeah, as of now, we have started harvesting, supplying chili produced in our model farm, and weekly we can produce a minimum of 300 and at least maximum of 500, even to 700 kgs per week. This now is being sold to an importer in Rwanda, but our bigger vision is not to pass through the importer here in Rwanda, but to supply directly to the to supply directly to the importer from out to the agro-processing company to minimize the value chain, like to remove the blockers inside who are taking a bigger margin that could be given to the farmer who has done a lot of work. Another thing, we are in contact with coffee local producers, and we have sent samples of roasted coffee to the client in UK, and hopefully he liked the coffee. We are waiting for him to to sign a contract of supplying to him. Yes, as you might have heard, we have these two platforms that are at a beta prototype phase. We have an e-learning platform that is ready, and the first course is going to be out in the next 2 weeks, of which I call you to, for the people who would like to join, to register and get updated about the courses that will be uploaded. These are agriculture and agribusiness courses to make you learn how to produce before you enter into the sector. This is not only the primary production, but also in secondary production, how to add value to the kind of products that you're producing. Another thing is a marketplace for agriculture produce. We want to help these farmers and these agribusiness people come together to expose what they are doing, to make importers, all these big buyers, get to know them so that they can be taking orders from this platform. Another platform which we haven't put here is a mobile app which is going to be acting like a bookkeeping app for these farmers, and again it's going to be a chatting channel for the farmers and all agribusiness people to exchange knowledge, to exchange information, to learn from each other, and again to track the data which can be shared with investors and financial institutions like P&L and the balance sheet, so that these financial institutions now can trust them to give them their money. Another thing we have done, we have piloted physical trainings to 100 youth in Rwanda and Zambia, and signed MOUs with 15 cooperatives, of which 5 are in Rwanda and other 10 are in Zambia. So now that you have learned what we have done, you might want to learn how you can join us to secure our continent, to fight against the challenges that we have seen. The first one, as the youth, we want to start with the youth. The youth, please join us into this $1 trillion industry, as I have told you. Stop calling it a dirty job. See how it can make you good money if you devote your time, if you devote your skills to it. This is an industry that not only can give you money, but it is an industry that is contributing to the biggest challenge our continent is facing. For the investors, you can join us to help us create more courses, to make the knowledge that has been only for the privileged people who go to the university, and make it universally available to even people who can't afford to go to the university, to tertiary education through their mobile phones. Now so that they can tap into these skills and learn it at their home, through their farm, and get to know how to do it. Another thing, we want you to come and help these farmers whom we are working with to produce more products, to help them get more capital to invest, and to help them tap into the international markets of what they'll be producing. And for agri importers, please source our agri products from our farmers and contribute to the growth while getting the quality you want. As you might have heard, we follow our farmers from the production until the product gets into your hand. So working with us, you are sure of the quality of the product you're receiving, but as well you're contributing to the well-being of the local farmer who is down there in the village. So for any other person who would buy into our mission of transforming ordinary farmers into smart farmers, talk to us and see how we can make you be part of the bigger tribe of agriculture producers and traders. So our vision, as you might have seen, we want to become the leading hub for agriculture growth in Africa. We envision to creating a bigger tribe of commercial farmers, serving both local and international markets. So I think this is the end of the presentation, but before I end, I'd like to end with this story that a friend of mine once told me. Yes, this is, it might be a small story from my side, but there's this story of a hummingbird which was once in a forest, and the forest was caught with fire, and this hummingbird kept going to pick water from the river, going and pouring it into the fire that was burning the forest. So when these other big animals saw the bird, they started asking, "What are you doing?" Then the bird was explaining to them that there is fire, and I'm trying to shut that fire down. And they were laughing at it, and until it told them like, "I'm playing my part. If you can as well play your part, this fire is going to be shut down, and the forest is going to remain as fresh as we are living in it." So what do I say into this story? Yes, our steps might be small, but if we come together as the whole team to build this tribe through the skills that you have, through the networks you have, through the capabilities you have in your regions, in where you are staying, we can uplift this sector into where we want it to be. We can feed the continent. We can flourish in our ambitions, and we can live into the better continent that we believe and we aspire to be. Thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Peter. Amazing work that you are doing out there with other young people. And indeed, you are lifting as you are rising. And then it's a lesson to each and every one of you, as much as we are doing something, we need to bring others up, exploring the ways of reducing unemployment. Thank you again, Peter, for touching on the importance of getting more youth in agriculture. Indeed, we need more of us involved in agriculture, because we are capable, we are capable of coming up with new ideas, to discover new technology that will increase production. We are in bed, the lights to reduce youth unemployment. Before I move forward, bringing on my second speaker, please kindly share the link with other your friends, family, your colleagues, to also join us today. It's very important for them to be here, to explore ways and to find a solution that they can also implement on their communities, on their countries, on whatever way they reside, and also keep those chats box messages popping. I see a few already popped in. As time goes on, our speakers will attend them. Our second speaker for today is Bridget Malulega. She is a specialist in entrepreneurship development for kids. She is currently the CEO and founder of Two Tables, a business advisory, consulting and event management company that develops, coach, and mentor children entrepreneurs in South Africa. Because of the passion to educate, to build, and to empower young people, Two Tablets was born. It's the children entrepreneurship program for training and teaching children about finances and business, and supplying resources and creating systems to support their project ideas. Welcome, Ms. DPO Bridget Malulega. You have our attention.
Thank you so much, my darling. What a warm welcome. I've got a bit of a, oh goodness, my network. I've got a bit of a problem with my network. Kindly bear with me. Let me know if I am audible, and let me kindly know if I'm audible. Please let me know if I am audible. Should I continue?
Yes, you are. Yes, you can.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, my network is bad. Kindly bear with me. Thank you so much for the invitation to be with you. Halala Africa Women in Trade. Halala. Halala Heritage Day. Halala. This meeting actually came at the right time where we are celebrating Heritage Day in South Africa, which is of course my birthday tomorrow. Great timing. Thank you, Africa Women in Trade, for this moment that you had granted me. To my host, my co-host, my moderator, and my fellow guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Greetings are in order. I work with children, yes. So I tend to interact like one, so kindly bear with me. I am Dipuo Bridget Malulega, as they have mentioned. I am from Two Tablets organization. I actually formed, okay, your microphone. Am I audible? I'm being told that my...
Yes, you are now audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm not certain which part you haven't heard, but I am Dipuo Bridget Malulega. I am from South Africa, Limpopo. I'm the founder of Two Tablets organization and a CEO. Two Tablets was actually formed to train children about business and financial literacy. And what we do through the organization is we also provide resources for those children. Say, for instance, if your child is passionate about carpentry, so we are able to put together the resources that can be used for whatever they're passionate about, for carpentry, for instance. The reason why I actually went for this, apart from the love for children, is because I've realized that we are sitting with children that are so talented. We're sitting with children that are so gifted, and we tend to overlook at that. Yes, we take our children to schools, but at the end of the day, we neglect what they are passionate about, and we don't even put resources, rather train them through whatever they are passionate about. Entrepreneurship is a brilliant ship one can sail on. And when I sat down and wanted to understand where the problem lies, I realized the bottom, or rather the root or the foundation, isn't strong enough to carry the kind of weight that we actually neglecting. Where challenges could be arising for young entrepreneurship, I think it actually arises from the fact that we are neglecting that stage where we need to be working with our children through hence the Children Entrepreneurship Program. We are currently working with children in our communities, and we're still on the lookout for children in cities. And I want to assure you that the response that we are getting is brilliant. It is so amazing because of the support that we're getting from parents as well. And yeah, quite an encouragement actually. Organizational cultures that encourage entrepreneurial or innovative thinking don't just appear out of the thin air. Hence, we are taking every step with these children to understand what is it that they are passionate about, what is it that we can improve. Well, at a little age, it's quite a vulnerable age wherein there's a lot of challenges, especially when you're working with children and you're trying to instill the entrepreneurship in them. It's quite a challenging process, but we soldier on. The official unemployment rate is now 34.4%. My Noctula has already said that the official employment rate is a record of 34.4%, or 7.8 million jobless people according to Stats SA. Trends show that unemployment is concentrated among the youth and the Black African population. The labor market is also more favorable to men than women. For some of us who are joining today on this program, and there is uncertainty about where one can actually start from, I will be looking at the concept of youth unemployment. Let me kindly touch on this before I can look at the challenges. Please, let me kindly touch on the concept of youth unemployment before I can actually look at the challenges. Sorry about that. Which involves me a lot much, because when I was working, which is the previous year, I currently belong to the 34.4% within the unemployment rate, because my work was laid off, and at that point I had nothing to rely on. And I've realized that there had to be the creating of a new culture, rather the productive environment within me. So by so doing, I had to move from being alone, rather being without a job, and relied more on the skills that I possess. Exactly what I was saying about the children entrepreneurship. We're not saying children don't go to school, don't learn what you are learning at school, but we're simply saying to you, have something to fall on. But because we are not equipped with the kind of skills to use to exploit the natural resources. So I was one of them who I had a business at that time, but then the problem that I had encountered was I wasn't full-time into the business. So when I fell back into the business, I realized that there were a lot of challenges that I had to go through, regardless of the entrepreneurial training that I got. I realized that there were gaps which had to be fulfilled, which I wasn't aware of at that time when I was being employed. If there is a seed, I normally say if there is a seed-bearing tree, there's always multiplication. And our exploitation of the stated, which is the seed-bearing trees, are the results of what we produce that could be distinguished from the rest in one way or the other. So when I go through the program with my children, I normally say to them, let's go outside, which is something that every individual can actually relate to, or rather practice. Let's go outside and let's look around us. Let's look at what we precisely have around us. I normally say to them, identify a product, rather identify a service out of what you can see from the outside. Now, I call that a foundation, rather a substance that one has to fall on. Normally, when we build a structure next on a foundation that is not stable, the structure normally becomes a problem. So for me to be bringing them outside, to be checking whatever natural resources they can use, or whatever innovative idea they can come up with from what they're seeing outside, is what I call entrepreneurship. And the innovative idea that I get from these children is so amazing. And I say to every individual on this program that let's look at that as well. Let's look at the natural resources that we are having around us. And if you're not certain about whatever project, rather the product you want to come up with, look into whatever natural resources that are lying just around you and utilize that. I'm reminded of something here. I'm reminded of a friend of mine that works in the mine, but he's occupying an office. My guess is he's supposed to be putting on the office attire, not the mining overalls. So what he normally says is, you know what? I am going to move into the mine. I am going to the mine today. Rather, the reason why I even wear how the miners are wearing is because I normally go into the mines and look at what is it that one can make out of what they see. What happens to the waste material that come from whatever production there would be within the mine? What happens to that? So every time he goes into that, he identifies those little things that he can actually think of an innovative idea that one can actually come up with. So I always say observation and being inquisitive are one form of things that one can actually embark on in terms of identify the product around you. Could be a service or anything. Now let's look at the challenges as a young entrepreneur. I'm having two events that are coming up. The first one, which is tomorrow, the second one, which is on Saturday. And there are challenges that, regardless of how long I had been into business, it is still quite a challenge. It feels as if you are coming across these things for the very first time, wherein I had experienced my no's as an answer. And my question is, what then do you do as an individual when you get a no as an answer? But then for somebody who had gone through entrepreneurial skills, they are taught about resilience. Those are the entrepreneurial skills that one has to go through. Hence, the challenge that I'll be touching on, which has to do with resilience, it is lack of basic entrepreneurial training. Now, when there's no access to basic training programs, it becomes a problem. It becomes a huge problem. Because when we're looking at the training programs, we are looking at the likes of your entrepreneurial training, your mentorship. We're looking at the support in our communities as well. The thing about entrepreneurial training is when you don't have it, it becomes a problem. But for somebody who had been equipped to actually go through with it, rather they had impact on it enhances the entrepreneurial thinking. It enhances the management, rather the marketing elements that you get within your organization. The marketing elements, these are 5 elements that I'll be mentioning: your product, your price, your place, your promotion, and the people. So for somebody who has actually learned the marketing elements, they are able to it actually assists them in building a better craft marketing plans that effectively reach their target market. The second one within the challenges that one faces would be the development opportunities. I would like to share with you about what I'm experiencing within my organization. It's, of course, in the organization, there are children that I have met with before that come up with a project. They come up with they come having had a product in place. And then what I normally say to them is, do you have any innovative idea? Rather, what are the possibilities of you increasing from what you have? It is unfortunate because some of them are not having the innovative ideas. They're not able to increase what they are having. So, but through the organization and through our objectives, we're able to assist our children with that. And the other element that we're going to be looking at is the access to funding. Honestly speaking, there is funding out there, but then the problem remains, how do you get it? How do you get your fundings? And I always question whether there was a preparation when you go present your idea to somebody, rather a funder. How equipped are you? Do you have right documentation packed up? And how is your public speaking? How's your presentation skills? Those are the kind of skills that we also instill in our children within the organization. And the best thing about the funding is when you have it, you're able to expand the business. You look at the technology and you're able to work on that as well. And then there's great provision of the best working environment within whatever product or the services that we'll be putting on the table. Now, the fourth one being the access to business network. When it comes to the business network, successful entrepreneur, rather, yeah, those who understand the power of business network, they will tell you how beneficial it is. Business network that are being formed by such entrepreneurs, they are quite good, honestly, because even when I had gone through the process that I've gone through losing my job and then into business, the first thing that I had to do was the business network. It gets difficult sometimes, but it's worth it. When you have that, you know you've nailed it. The fifth one would be the unfavorable government policies. We're still on the challenges that an entrepreneur can actually go through. And it is, I would like to mention this because it becomes a problem for an entrepreneur who has just ventured and they come across these challenges. Some end up leaving the entrepreneurship world, which is not an advice I can actually give one. Sorry about that. Which is an advice I can't actually give one. Because of the challenges that one faces, having to leave what you had started is just off. Now, with the government policies, of course, we're having challenges within the government policies, like your political stability and political culture. We've got problem with the government taxation and the spending. There's also a problem with the interest rate. The government policy can influence interest rates, a rise in which increases the cost of borrowing, rather the regulations and the permits. Sorry about that, my throat. I am going to quote this for you. I quote, "Is not the strongest or the smartest or the fastest who always win. It is the one that never gives up." That is the reason I'm saying when you come across the challenges within your entrepreneurship, it is not the best way to live, rather to close down your businesses or whatever you'll be doing at that time. The following are the 3 P's that every entrepreneur must adhere to. I'll be starting with patience. It increases patience. It reduces expectations. Of course, there are ups and downs in the journey, but remember, the moment you stop believing in your dream, so will others. But if it is only a timeline shift, be patient. If it means rearranging your plans or adjusting the time periods and patient implementing well on the ground, so be it. And then the third one being the second and the third one being perseverance and persistence. We learn from our mistakes, and we normally use them as the stepping stones to success. But perseverance, it tests our imagination, it tests our courage, it tests our intuition. And the persistence is a learned skill. I say it's a learned skill because it's something that one has to learn throughout their journey in business. So that would be the end of my presentation. I really appreciate for this moment. Back to you, Sis Nokuthula.
Thank you so much, Ms. Malulega.
Thank you, again.
Indeed, thank you. Indeed, our most grave and most pressing challenge is youth unemployment, and it is frustrating. I mean, SA youth unemployment is currently sitting on 74.7%. It's very disappointing, and it is a ticking time bomb, and also you talk about us implementing a new economic policy of features that will drive youth more into entrepreneurship, of which I strongly agree. To quote you, you say that young people, they need to be innovative, so we need to drive such innovation through entrepreneurship. Moving on to our third speaker for the day is Mr. Oliver. Oliver Chikonzore is an entrepreneur who specializes in thoughts leadership and strength based on personal development. He is an abstract thinker, yet also a concrete theorist of notes. This is evident in his articles and his works in various thought leader platform, in which he has held presentations and lectures through Projects Management South Africa and Cape Media Corporation, Egyptian African Business Association, as well as our AIEC in-house events for the past 8 years. Currently, he serves as a CEO of African Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center, an organization of which I'm also a brand ambassador for, which is great. He's also a favorite entrepreneur at heart. Oliver speaks professionally on leadership, innovation, change, creating high-performance culture. Also, Oliver believes that the blueprint to building a successful business lies in getting 4 pillars right, of which is the quality of its leadership, its ability to innovate strategically and creatively. It's proficiently at managing change intelligently, and lastly, the degree to which it can embed a high performance culture in people, especially in identifying critical aspects in high pressure situations. Welcome, Oliver. The attention is all on you. Also, please note, keep those questions coming in. I already have a lot of questions to ask our speakers. Mr. Oliver, you may take the platform. Mr. Oliver, are you ready? Okay. It seems like Mr. Oliver
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, thank you.
I was muted. Sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. The attention is all yours. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nokuthula. Apologies to everyone. I had a little bit of challenges a little bit earlier in terms of network, so I had to jump into the to the public place. But anyway, thank you so much for those that have just joined us. And thank you so much to the speakers that just spoke before me. And thank you so much to Joy and the rest of the Africa Women in Trade team for creating a platform for us to be able to engage on business as entrepreneurs, to get mentorship and ideas that can help us to grow our businesses. So today, my topic, I hope everybody is quite excited. This one out. So my topic today is capital raising for entrepreneurs. And the motto is, the money is out there if you are ready for it. If we look at what we have heard with the previous speakers, they talk a lot about access to markets, about being innovative, and also talk about how do we raise money and how do we get money to be able to support our businesses, our entrepreneurship ventures. So today you will be able to learn more about. Sorry, I'm just gonna get my camera better. Is it better? Okay, my camera right now, Joy.
Okay. Oliver, you're okay. Just put it the other way around, the way it was. You are fine the way you were before.
Okay. 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 All right. Okay. I thought maybe it was me. Okay. Great. So okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So today we're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to give you some tools, a little bit about when you want to raise capital for a venture, what you need to do in preparation of raising funds for your venture. So Joy, if you can get the next slide, please. Okay. The key in raising money is being prepared. This is very, very important. And I have a quote by Jordan Belfort of Wall Street. I don't know if some of you have watched some of his movies or interviews. This is one of the biggest or well-known salesperson in the world on stock exchange. But his quote is about the best way to become Joy, sorry, okay, I don't know what's going on. Okay. The best way to become a millionaire is fast, but it takes a long time to get there. This was Jordan Belfort of Wall Street. Joy, I don't know what's happening. Okay.
I'm sorry, the presentation is just the way it is. Okay. Just go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. So as I talk about being prepared, the very first thing to do is to do research, understand what investors are looking for in your industry, the language, and the criteria you use. Recently, I received a call from a gentleman who got my number from his wife, and he said to me, is your name Oliver? I said, yes, my name is Oliver. And he said that to me, my wife is looking for funding. So I said to him, please just give me your email, I'll send you the specification. So that's not the right way of raising money. The very first thing is to do a lot of research about the sector specific of your venture. If you really need money, because sometimes you don't really need money, but sometimes you are just looking for the market, but you think you need money. You need to be able to market your product. But if you need finance, you need to do research, sector specific of your venture, and then understand the requirements of the investor and what your business is looking for, and the industry as well. That's very, very important. The language and the criteria that you use. That's the very first thing that you need to do when it comes to capital raising. The second thing is to build a professional pitch deck. Your elevator pitch. This is very, very important. You need to be able to prepare a professional pitch deck that you can be able to pitch with less than 5 minutes to an investor. This is also a very, very important in preparation when you want to raise a fund for your business. I think it was Bridget who spoke. Joyce, you can please go back. I think it was Bridget who spoke a lot around that. We're talking about that businesses also, entrepreneurs need to raise funds. Entrepreneurs need to raise funds. But an entrepreneur, a real entrepreneurship is transforming ideas into bankable equity. And so we're talking a lot about the skills that they train, for example, financial literacy, because I think that a successful entrepreneur must understand 3 things: the production, the manufacturing and the production process of your product. One needs to be able to market the product as well as have a good financial understanding. So these trainings and these mentorship programs, they can help you or equip you to be able to be ready when it comes to capital raising for your venture. Also, you need to prepare the appropriate documentation for due diligence and selling your business idea. In this case, for example, business plans, company registration, are you legal, are registered? We also look at the team of experts. Are you a single business owner or you have a team that works with you? So this is very, very important. All the necessary documentation you need to prepare and selling your business idea for due diligence. Network and be confident. So network is very, very important. Like this platform that we have today, very, very important, because by networking, you also get clarity on certain things that you don't understand. You gain knowledge, you get empowered, and also you become confident. As I always say, that clarity gives confidence. So by networking, you are empowering yourself, you are raising the bar, you are gaining more skills, and also the right networks. You network with the CEOs, you network with the venture capitalists, you also network with the right people that can link you up, or you can be able to even network with investors. So this is very, very important to network with the right people that can help you in your venture. Practice pitching to people and prepare how to handle objections. I was reading, I think it was, it's Barack Obama's one of his books, I think it's Dreams from My Father, when he was talking about hope. And he also talked about that before he did his 2004 Democratic Convention speech, he was preparing this speech with his team every night before you went to the larger or a bigger stage to present his speech. So you need to practice your pitching to people and prepare how to handle objection. Joy, next slide, please. Okay, do they mean what they say for entrepreneurs? So if you are from South Africa, of course, today we talk a lot about the continent, not just South Africa, but the entire continent. And if you look at some of the content that we've been sharing, we talk a lot about the study that was done by the African Union recently that reveals that about 20 million jobs are at risk because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think that these numbers are small. I think the numbers are quite bigger than what we just had. So now, if we look at some of these banks, I think most of these ones are also based in South Africa. And we have, for example, IDC, Industrial Development Corporation based in South Africa. We have Nedbank, Standard Bank, and FNB. So these are financial banks or institutions. And the question is, do they mean what they say for entrepreneurs? We'll get to this in the next slide. Can you please go to the next slide, Joy? Then these are just more of the financial institutions that we have as well. So this is the screening criteria. Please, Joy, go to the next slide. Okay, so many do not speak this language, the language of money. And sometimes we don't really blame ourselves as Africans. We don't learn about money on the dinner table. That's why I like what Bridget is doing in teaching them while they're still young. So the study also reveals that 80% of all venture capital and investment proposals do not pass the screening stage, about 80%. And one of the work that we are doing, and both AIEC and Africa Women Trade, is to develop programs that will be able to empower entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs to be able to qualify. Because if you look at 80%, which means only 20% can be able to put proposals or meet the criteria. So this is a big number, and it's an issue that we need to address. And the most common error is not determining if you qualify, not knowing the venture capitalist or investor. So it's very, very important before you approach an investor to understand the sector, to understand what the investor is looking for, what you are looking for, and if you qualify. Very, very important thing to do before you approach any funders. The other one is venture capitalist seekers rarely familiarize themselves with the basic criteria. So one thing we need to admit as young people is that we are too arrogant. We come up with an idea, we think that our idea is a great idea, and we think that that it will do well without understanding. So most grown-ups or investors, they have done this in the past. They know the challenges, they know the opportunities. So we need to be open-minded, and we also need to familiarize ourselves with just the basic criteria of raising funding. Venture capitalists ignore the criteria and believe their idea is so good that it will be funded. So don't be hot-headed thinking that your idea is so good. So you need to familiarize with the basic criteria, very, very important, in order for you to be able to get funding for your venture. The venture capital firm may have invested their quota in your field as far as their risk criteria and do not want to depend on one market too much, because they might have done this in the past, so they really don't just want to depend on one market. Please, Joy, next slide. Making the pitch deck. One of the mentorship programs that we offer is to help entrepreneurs from idea validation to be able to develop their investor pitch as well as to meet investors. So in making the pitch, you need a brief introduction of yourself, history of your business and achievements. Sell yourself as an expert. If you are not, then sell the team of experts you have working with you. Make yourself sound interesting. This is very, very important. I was with my team yesterday, and one of them, I overheard on the call saying, we are aiming. I immediately stopped here that we are not aiming. You need to be confident, you need to speak with confidence, and you need to sell yourself as an expert. This is very, very important. And then explaining in 2 to 3 sentences, the industry, the product, and each target market. How big is the industry, and why is that interesting? Why is your business interesting? Why must I invest in your business? Because what is business? Business is the activity of buying and selling a product or service in order to make a profit. So investors are looking to make a return on their investment. Explain why it fills a gap and has a competitive advantage. Know your competitors. Don't get stuck on competition. Focus on the trend and the gap, mostly what makes you the best. Because in most cases, it's just like events. That's why you look at you see our events are so much different with any other events across the world. Because we look at programs that meet objectives and programs that look beyond just a networking session or a nice to have webinar or program. So this is very, very important. So we call it a gap. And what makes you the best? What makes you different? What makes you different with any other entrepreneur that is in your sector or that is providing the same service or providing the same product? This is very, very important. Risks the industry faces. So investors, they also do a lot of research. So you must have done a research about some of the risks that your industry is facing and how you have managed to get around those risks. What makes you a low risk for the investor? Very, very important. Next slide, please. Okay. Make the pitch count. Amount of money you have invested to date and what you have achieved. Be specific, conduct, sales figures, cash flow, social media followers and friends. For example, your portfolio, any news coverage, product launch, etc. This is very, very important because then the investor can be able to see that you have a portfolio, you are not selling an idea, but you are selling a business. And you believe in your idea or you believe in your business because you have invested some amount of money or assets. And I've been discussing with some investors recently, and most of them, they don't find any business that have got less than 30% of their own investment in the business. So this is very, very important, keeping record of what you have put in your business and then prepare all this content. And so that you can be able to, when you discuss with the investor can see that you believe in your idea, you believe in your business, you have a portfolio, you have some followers already, you have some clients already. Very, very important when you are preparing your pitch deck for funding. Number of current shareholders and partners. This is very important. Who is the owner of the business, or who are the owners, who are the shareholders, the people behind the business? It's very, very important. And be specific how much you own in terms of shares in your business, so they know who is pitching to them. Is it an individual business? Is it a business with shareholders? This is very, very important information for the investors to know. The amount of money you are looking to raise and what you're going to spend the funds on and what you expect to achieve. So you guys, you have seen Peter presented a little bit earlier with the work that they are doing with Agriculture Network in Rwanda and in creating markets for the African agro-processing or agricultural products. And one of the things is that they need more funding in order for them to be able to do more across the continent. So this is very, very important when you are looking for money as well, the amount of money that you're looking to raise and what you're going to spend on. So if we look at the Agriculture Network, for example, they want to set up a distribution facility, they want to set up cold rooms, they want to look into the logistic area of the business, which is very, very important. So in your business, you need to look at how are you going to spend your money? Is it for expansion for your business? Is the money for branding? Is it for marketing? Is it for packaging? How are you going to spend the money? This is very, very important when you are reaching out to investors. And also, what do you expect to achieve when you receive the funding for your business? The percentage of the business you are willing to give up for the investment or terms you will consider. This is very, very important. I mean, I also received a spreadsheet recently where investors say, Oliver, please answer these questions for these following projects. And one of the questions was, how much are you willing to give as an equity to the investor? So this is very, very important. And know why you gave yourself the valuation. It's a root mistake. So this is very, very important to do when you prepare yourself to capital raise for your venture. Your power statement. So they remember who you are. who you are, like expect the best fintech for the digitalizing the financial market. For example, this is just an example. So you're an expert as the best fintech, for example, firm for digitalizing the financial market. So in your sector, you need to position yourself as an expert for your venture or for the business that you provide, whether it's services or its products. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. People may laugh at me today, but I want to ask all of you that are here today. I don't know how many people here that plays lottery. So the question is that if you don't play, you don't win. If you don't play, you don't win. So if you are an entrepreneur, you need to be able to go out there and play the game in order for you to win. So me, I respect people that play lotto, because although they do hope, I don't play lotto myself, but they do hope to win someday, but they have more chances to win because they play. The same in the game of business. If you don't play the game, you don't win. So you've got to play the game. Next slide, please. You can only win if you play. And as I said earlier, be nice to those people. So when you sell yourself, you need to sell yourself, you're like your own lottery ticket. They need to see you as their own lottery ticket. For example, if you look at the banks, if they are going to give you about $1 million, they expect you to have assets, backup assets of $10 million. So, because I mean, it's a risk for them. So you have to be like their own lottery ticket. Number two, these are realities. Number two is investors need to see you as their lottery ticket. Very, very important. Convince them that you are better than a lottery ticket. So this is very, very important. Consider yourself as an expert or the team of experts. Very, very important. Next slide, please. Okay. Justifying the deal structure. These are some of the things that you need just before you go and present or your pitch to an investor. Current financials and current multiples. We have a project recently that we are working on as an entrepreneur who is seeking for finance. We got two founders who were interested, but because she got two other shareholders and they didn't want to produce the financials. You need to be able to produce your current financials and your current multiples. This is very, very important for the investor to know. Projected financials to justify the multiple. This is your financial projections, how you're going to be able to make money for the next year, for the next 2 years, for the next 3 years. This is very, very important information for the investor to know. Current and potential contracts that you have, MOUs, pre-purchase agreements, client dependence. So your clientele is very, very important. Like me, I also deal with products, for example. So you get pro forma invoices, agreements, and contract agreements from the buyers when it comes to be consignment. So having this documentation with you, it shows to the investor that you have done research and shows the investor that that you qualify or you're ready for the investment. Research and development, I spoke this a little bit earlier. Patent and uniqueness. I mean, we are also working with some technological projects at the moment, and we realize that, I mean, Africa does not respect intellectual property, IP, and innovation, but this is very, very important to patent your idea or your business before you can reach out to the investors or to other people. Get in the market, size of the market, and size of the competition or potential exit. So the gap is very, very important. One of the things that we do when we do mentorship programs is to, when we look at your business as an entrepreneur, is to look at the gap opportunity, the opportunity. So we look at the scope of the project and we look at the gap, how you are going to be able to make a profit within, or return on investment within a shortest period of time. This is also very, very important. If you have any past successes, you need to be able to share your past successes as well when you are negotiating partnerships or investment with an investor. Next slide, please. Okay, presenting the deal. I talk about deal sheet, description of the business and its uniqueness, the article ask, this is very, very important. Size of the market, I spoke about this, and agents as well. When do you want this money and why it's important? A detailed description of the product, including potential profit, social good. Some businesses, if you are looking for funding, some investors would like to know, apart from the making of profit, what kind of social good or social impact does your business have? So it should not just be driven by money, but also by the social impact that it has. Best 5-year financial projections, it can be 3 years to 5 years, very, very important. Capital required to meet the projections and return on the investment. Deal structure, asking percentage of company cost per share, very, very important. Team description, directors, then supporting staff. So your directors, how many directors do you have? Who are the directors and their experiences? Your supporting staff, your advisors, very, very important. If you can include their bios, like 2-3 sentences of their bios, will be very, very important in your business plan and the offering. Website, if you have a website and a social media presence, your website is like your first address for your business these days. So this is also very, very important. In some cases, access to a deal room. So also look at what kind of events that are available. Currently, they're mostly driven online. And then if you can get access to the deal rooms once you have done your preparation for capital raising. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just an idea of preparation for funding or venture capital. I spoke a lot about this a little bit earlier. So I think we can go to the next slide. Okay, consider these funding methods. One of the things that we fail to understand as entrepreneurs, when we're looking for funding, we always want to look at funding from an investor or from the bank. But we need to consider family members as well, because those are your immediate contacts that you know, your immediate friends. Crowdfunding, of course, crowdfunding, you need to have a very strong social media presence, venture capital companies, brokers or introducers. Like brokers, they're like people that help you to raise funds. They take a percentage of the funding that they raise on your behalf. So this can help you if you don't really have a lot of strong network. I spoke about friends and family, IPO or listing on stock exchange, depending on the nature of your venture or business. You can also get a debt or a bank financing, which is also for your business, depending on the business that or your venture that you are running. Next slide, please. So most successful crowdfunding has more than 5,000 Facebook followers. So they're very, very strong on social media, on Twitter as well. South Africa, America, I saw they're very, very strong. Even Hong Kong, they're very strong on Twitter, LinkedIn. Most businesses and young people here, I know that you don't like LinkedIn, you like Facebook much, but LinkedIn is very, very important because that's when you get your executives, decision makers, investors. So it's very, very important to have this kind of social media pages, website with a blog, traffic audience or newsletters. So it's more of an integrated online, integrated digital marketing platforms, press release services. So if you have any PR services that you have that you can be able to send as well, a network of investors or database. This is also very, very important to have, and work with online marketeers. So you can also work with other businesses or marketeers that are promoting businesses, or that helps raise funds, or that has lots of followers. You can ask them to follow you, you can follow them, that you can be able to have a larger network as well for your social media platform. Next slide, please. Successful campaigns also need online videos and updates. You get people that don't really like to read much. So if you have online videos, short videos about your product or service and updates, very, very great to have interviews and exposure to an online audience. So some of us, we know we give a lot of platforms through the Game Changer Channel Africa, DSTV 802 in South Africa. It's an online radio supported by our national government. So we have a program where we can give you like 7 minutes exposure for your business. So this helps you to reach out to more audience or target a market. Articles and public relations. Before I published my book, I wrote an article, and in that article at the end, I just say, this is an extract from my book, African Hidden Potential. And I sold more than 300 books before I published the book. So this is very, very important. There are many publications that also offers entrepreneurs free opportunity to publish their articles through their magazines or newspapers. Integration into traditional methods, trade booths. I mean, depending with the nature of your business, you can also go, if you live in places like Cape Town, for example, we do like weekend trade shows at the beach and waterfront. You can also do in the malls, in your local mall, or look at the markets, the weekend markets in your area as well. Integration into email signature, this is very important. Word of mouth, sharing with others. Yesterday, I was with a colleague of mine, and I just sold 5 books because he just told one of my colleagues that I just met, like an acquaintance, that if you buy Oliver's book, you become a millionaire, you become rich. And this person was so much interested about this book. So word of mouth is very, very important, sharing with others through word of mouth. And ask for referrals through your networks as well. Break down your audience into affiliates. It can be a community of influencers, advocates, fans, or ambassadors. I mean, you have seen Noctula, she's doing quite a lot in terms of promoting AIEC, Africa Innovation Entrepreneurship Center, because she has become part of the ambassador group, and also active advisors, and put time into the campaign. Getting innovative campaigns and put a lot of time in that, very, very important as well. Companies should secure 30% of the amount they intend raising before going to the crowdfunding. This is also very important, as it proves that the credibility of their offering. Investors or supporters can believe in your project if you already have, for example, 30%, because it shows that you believe in your business, you believe in your idea, you believe in your venture. With equity investors, and also buy the stake. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just an example of an information in action of a seed deck. I will share the presentation so you can go to the next slide. We're almost done. Okay, asking for the investment and close and choose, letter of intent, very important, your MOU, funding commitment, term sheet. Before you even reach out to an investor, you need to have these things, because once you have a chat with the investor, can be able to actually sign a letter of intent, shows that you are well prepared, subscription agreement, what is your asking price, your banking details, very, very important. And this must be a business banking details, time frame, this looks at the agents and the takeaway, and then also what is the minimum and what is the maximum of what you are asking for in terms of finance. Next slide, please. These are some of the companies on the stock exchange, the market, so you can go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Yeah. So focus on the right investors, prospects, and lead sources. As I mentioned earlier about that you need to be able to have done research and understand what investors are looking for. So it's very, very important to focus on the right investors that invest in the sector of your business or project, and then prospects and lead sources. So we have a toolkit that we have that we can also share with entrepreneurs across the continent, that they can be able to understand how to do research on the right investors for the project. Then with the right frequency of contact, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yes. Okay. With the right database tools and documentation to show. Okay. The second last slide is relationship building model, time, frequency, length, plus genuine assistance, relationship commitment from both parties. So would you spend your time in the past week, for example, people that you have coffee with, when you do relationship building, people that you network with. So this is very, very important in relationship building. My last professor always used to say that you need to build at least 3 contacts each and every day. So relationship building is very important because we can be able to share knowledge, we can be able to share contact, expertise, and help each other to grow. And I think to round up, I think you can go the last slide, Joy, of my slide. The last slide. So this is just for you guys to prepare yourself. A calendar for the week, meetings that you're gonna have, who you're gonna have meetings with. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, and we can talk more when it comes to the questions a little bit later. And for now, my last point is that if you are prepared, the money is out there. So thank you so much for your time. Apologies for network, it's a little bit of a challenge, but I think thank you so much. I will be able to be about myself for any questions or comments from the participants.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oliver. That was very fruitful, indeed. There's too much fish in the ocean. All we need is to dive as young people, but we need the right skills of how to swim, the skills of researching, negotiating, building a professional pitch desk, selling your business idea, which is pitching, networking, those are a few points that I've taken from you. Thank you so much, Sam. Moving forward, unfortunately, we are a few minutes away from running up, our webinar. Nevertheless, I am fueled as a young person with solution of how to tackle the youth unemployment. The ideas and the advices our speakers have shared, better prepared me able to take action, but that doesn't apply only on me, it also applies to you, you've observed, you've learned. So now it's time for you to go out there and implement, implementation is the key. You can only learn by doing, not by just listening, observing. All right, without any further ado, we have a lot of questions on the chat box for our speakers. I'm sure they're ready to answer those questions. I myself have a question for Miss Malulega. I think it's better if I can just go ahead and ask Miss Malulega this question. Please pay an attention to question, so you can hear much clearer before you answer. Miss Malulega, you talk about youth unemployment, of which is what was quite an amazing presentation. It's awakened me, but then again, let me bring you back to the point that our government, been growing blood from patient in the ICU, not actually realizing that that blood is dirty. It's time for a new blood. Same applies to the entrepreneurship. There is a foundation that we need to learn before we go ahead and say, let's get more young people into entrepreneurship. On your level, on your perspective, what are foundations that we need to implement? Ms. Malulega?
Sorry about that. Sorry, I couldn't get that. Can you repeat that?
All right. I'll repeat the question. I'm glad that you are here. So I said, we grow much blood from the patient in the ICU, which is very, very common. For instance, we found our government injecting more cash into economic policy, not realizing that the blood is already dirty. It's time to get another new blood, and keep it rolling. So same goes to entrepreneurship. For sure, there is a foundation that needs to be laid before we go and say, let's get more young people into entrepreneurship. Now, what are those foundations that we need to lay? What are those things that we need to equip young people at a very early age? And also, how is our educational system supporting that narrative?
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Natali. I've actually mentioned the challenges that we are faced with, the likes of lack of training, entrepreneurship training. Those are the things that the government needs to look at before we can actually move further. And I always say, if you want to understand what could be missing within us, let us look within these people. What are the projects that we are able to instill a certain skill in? And most of these projects happen to be the hands-on project. How about we provide resources that are in place that could actually help them prepare for the future, the entrepreneurship future? If we have in projects that, and then I always say the problem is not because people are without jobs yet. The problem is people wake up to nothing. What is it that drives these people into doing something? Where are the facilities within the community that one would actually wake up to? It doesn't precisely have to be something that they would get payment out of at the end of the month, but something that they can be able to put their hands on. Thank you.
So much. Okay, my question was well answered. Thank you so much. I have tons of questions for our other speakers. The second question goes to Mr. Oliver. Mr. Oliver, is the education at the moment supporting youth to go into entrepreneurship? And how can the government do to make entrepreneurship easy for the youth other than the white-collar job? So it's more similar to Ms. Malulega, but yeah, it differs a little bit. Okay, you may unmute Mr. Oliver. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. So just before I answer, if we look at the South African, where we are now, South African government, in terms of the education is not favoring young people, but there's something that is very important I want to do, and I want to share with entrepreneurs, that there's a lot of organizations such as ourselves, Africa Women in Trade, and others that are running. Even I saw Mosi from Accurate Group, one of our new partners is here in the webinar. We provide mentorship programs and the right education in terms of helping entrepreneurs with whether it's financial skills, financial literacy, or it's whether it's how to write a bankable business plan, idea validation. So organizations such as ourselves, we are providing those services. But entrepreneurs or young people, we have to expect, never expect no for an answer as a young entrepreneur. And we need to liberate ourselves as active citizens. We can't just wait for the state or for our government. We have to come together as young people and liberate ourselves by being active citizens, because once we are united, once we are active citizens, we can be able to force the government to formulate policies that are conducive for entrepreneurship environment, and so that we can be able to create, through entrepreneurship, we can create jobs, we can create the much needed wealth that is needed to grow and to build the hashtag Africa that we want. So beyond this webinar, I would like all entrepreneurs or young people on this group to join our Africa Women in Trade group on the website, or become a member, so that we can be able to provide you with the necessary support that you need in elevating yourself to the next level of beauty of venture. Thank you. Thank you, Noktula. You are muted. You are muted, Noktula. Noktula is muted.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My apologies. My goodness. The question I was about to ask next, it was for Mr. Peter, but unfortunately he's currently facing some network connection. You know, hopefully before we end the webinar, he will be able to join us with a good connection. But that doesn't stop us from moving onwards, because we have a lot of questions to go to. All right, this question is going to Ms. Malulega. I would like to bring you back again. You know, the question is, we are seeing a lot of youth having mental health. How can we as a community and government help?
Our communities are actually hands-on, especially in the community that I'm working from. We have different stakeholders that are flowing in to assist where possible. The healthcare accessibility, of course, being one of them, in the community facilities. Sometimes the problem, like I said to you, the problem is not about somebody getting a job, but it could be the fact that they are waking up to nothing. So there's no drive for that person. So we introduce different projects that are hands-on, and the skills that they can be trained for. So we believe the busier they are, the better. So normally what we would actually have in our communities is we start them with the preliminary questions, where we understand the person on the deepest level. So from that, understanding them from the deepest level, we're able to understand and put them where they're supposed to be, especially in terms of entrepreneurial skills. So our projects are more practical than just the theory, because we believe in the hands-on projects. Thank you. I can't hear you, ma'am.
Apologies. Okay.
I'm not sure. Okay.
I'm back. Thank you so much, Ms. Malulega. Over
Thank
to you, Oliver, again. Thank you. How important is IP or copyright?
Okay. So before I answer that question, I would like to make a contribution to the previous questions when it comes to mental health care. Mrs. Malulega, I want to tell you that when entrepreneurs go through challenges, the very first thing I always inspire entrepreneurs is that don't start a business just to make money. Start a business to make a difference with a bigger purpose and passion. It is passion that helps you to survive in your business when you don't make money, because sometimes it's not easy as an entrepreneur. You look good out there, but you can't pay bills because maybe clients don't pay or they take long to pay. So most young people, that's why they go through the issue of mental health care. And if you look at Africa as a whole, there are countries like Malawi, for example, they don't even have any mental health care in their vocabulary. So there are so many challenges when it comes to mental health care. I know there are many challenges. So be part, I always say this, rather call me and I listen to your problem than attend your funeral. So be part of a community. Like African Women Trade is saying, come and be part of a community. Because if you are part of a community, we can be able to help each other. It's not easy as an entrepreneur, so this is very, very important. Lastly, we have a program every Friday and Sunday by one of my colleagues. She is South African based in Canada. Her name is Dr. Unati. So if you follow our WhatsApp group, you may have seen some of the postings. Her job or role is to support or talk more about mental health. So we have that support. So if you know anybody that is going through any challenges in terms of mental health or stress or depression, please let these people reach out to us. We can help them. We can support them. We do have this support to try and help each other. We don't want to lose our young people because we are the future of the continent. So we don't want to lose our young people because of mental health care or depression. So be part of the community, reach out to us, we can support. Lastly, let me answer my question on intellectual property and copyright. So this is of paramount because as an entrepreneur, let's look at the history of South Africa. We used to be exploited a lot by big corporates because big corporates have got the big money, but they do not have the new ideas like young people. Young people come out with the new ideas. So it's very, very important to copyright your product that you're offering or your project. It's very important so that tomorrow nobody can steal your idea or can steal your project. And because someone with money may take your idea and run to the market, get the business and venture, and you lose. So it is of paramount to be able to understand innovation, intellectual property, and copyright. And if there's anybody that is here that would like to be a part of a masterclass or to know more about intellectual property, we can help. Anywhere in Africa, we can help. We can link you up with the local people that can assist you with copywriting your project. Thank you. Over to you, Noctula.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you. I see Mr. Peter is already back. Yeah. So I will take that your connection is now stable because I have a question for you here.
It's a bit stable. Now I can speak. Can you hear me?
Thank you, sir. Yes, we can hear you. How can, as adults or support, approach young people better to be able to help them?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like adult people, you have a lot of things that you can help the youth. And one of the ways I would say to be elder, that means you have created a bigger network. You have lots of people that you are connected with. What that means, you have networks with maybe the market that the young people are looking for. You have networks with the kind of investment the young people are looking for, or you are even the market. You are the people who can buy the kind of product the young people are selling, plus even the motivation and the advice you can give to these young people on the journey they are going through. Being old comes with all this package that the young people are looking forward to you, and it's up to you to see which one you can give best. Maybe from our side, I would say we need all of them. We need the mentorship as the way we need funding and as the way we need market. So any elderly people, any elderly person maybe in the room, he can think of anything that he's maybe willing to give or anything that he's capable of giving better. And we welcome him to come and work with us and to support our initiative and to work with us. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. Keep comments coming, keep questions coming. We still have time to run a few questions to our speakers, but I also have a question to all my speakers. Anyone can just get in and answer the question, you know, and yeah, so it will be mostly based on youth unemployment, because you all know that it is a ticking bomb. You know, if we don't act now, you know, things are going to be worse. When we talk about unemployment rates, you know, I believe that we need to break down that percentage, because we know that unemployment is not unemployment as a whole. We have different types of unemployment. You talk about frictional unemployment, you talk about structural unemployment, you talk about cyclical unemployment. You know, we have kinds of unemployment, you know, so we need to keep carefully, you know, dive into us understanding those type of unemployment, you know, before we implement strategies, because the strategy that we are going to implement for each category of unemployment will differ to the others, you know. And according to my take, my own understanding, my own perspective as an economic student, you know, I will say that we are facing a structural unemployment as South Africa, you know, the lack of skills in the job market from us young people, you know, because we have moved into you know, fourth industrial revolution area, you know, where skills like robotic, coding, artificial intelligence are needed by companies, but you find that young people don't have those skills. You know, they go and study for unrelated, you know, causes, you know, with an aim of getting unemployment, but only to find that after graduation there is no job for you. You know, so my question to all of you: how do we go about breaching that skill gap? Or my other question will be, do you think the problem that we are facing is a problem of lacking skills, or is a problem of lacking job opportunities? Thank you.
I will start, Notula, to save time. Notula, I think the biggest question is mindset, because we are conditioned to go and get a degree, look for a job. We don't have a culture such as the Chinese culture or the Jewish culture. So I am more focusing on how do we empower more young people, so that these young people can be able to create jobs and the much needed what we need for our economy. And if you look at our youth event you organized last year, Professor Dwana could mention something, said the University of Pretoria, for example, they do have opportunities and programs where they take people that are already working, come back to university and learn new programs. I'm not a techie person because I grew up with older people. For the past 10 years, I always spend my time with older people. So I'm learning to use Zoom. I started learning to use Zoom last year. So we can learn it. I mean, if there's a will, there is a way. So I think we need to change our mindset and focus much more on empowering ourselves to create something, and also to learn and to share. I mean, nowadays everything is online. So I think it's more about the mindset change rather than the jobs. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Ms. Malulega. Okay, Mr. Peter, are you ready to answer?
Network medicine.
Okay.
Maybe it's network, I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Yes. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Pisa.
So I want to go far from what Mr. Olive said. As well, what I can say, I think there is a divide from the understanding of the kind of skills the people are getting and the job market. This is how I see the challenge, but with the little bit understanding as the time evolves, like businesses keep understanding these kind of skills that are lacking. As you can see, we can literally see it from the business that the lady we had at the panel was sharing. This is as a result of an entrepreneur who has figured out the kind of skills that is lacking and is trying to give it to the people. Or you can even take an example from the skills we are trying to give in agribusiness. So the more we understand what is needed on the market and try to give it out to people, I think we are going to address this challenge of unemployment. Yes, for me, I believe it is the divide between the people who are teaching and the job market. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Over to you, Ms. Malulega.
Thank you so much. My panelists have actually said everything, honestly. And remember what I started with when I said when I lost my job, the first thing that I actually did was to self-introspection. I had to go through that. And then I had to find something that I can do. Learn a skill. I've learned carpentry. I've learned carpentry. So I think training is actually what we need as entrepreneurs, or rather as somebody who wants to become an entrepreneur, or rather for every child. Every single child has to go through the same thing. So what I said to you again about children was we have preliminary questions where we look into what these children are passionate about, and then we take it from that level. So we tap within just to create something that they're able to fall back on, which is an entrepreneurial skill at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My question was 100% answered. Thank you so much to our speakers today. Unfortunately, this brings us to the end of our African Women in Trade Youth webinar. Thousands of thanks to everyone who joined us. I'm sure you guys were fueled up, and learned a lot like I did. But before I fold the event, I would also like to bring back Joy just to give us a vote of thanks for today. Thank you.
Naktula, just before you bring Joy, can I make a comment?
Can I?
Okay, I wanted to make a comment. I wanted to make a comment on the last question. Is that we have Mosi here, Mosi from Accurate Group. So they have a program that, we're talking about training for young people as well for different entrepreneurship skills. So I'll ask him to post his details on the chat box so that entrepreneurs can be able to reach out to him after the webinar. Over to you, Naktula and Joy. Sorry about
Thank you so much, Oliver. Miss Joy, you may take over.
Thank you so much. Wow, what a lot of information we've got there. I think all of you have seen that, you have been listening to the presentation and enjoying the whole part of this. The presenters right on the spot. I'm just reading comments everywhere there. Very interesting. Yeah, here is There's a lot of comments also on YouTube as well. So I'm going to read a few there. That I've seen from Moss, agriculture is our main economic booster and value addition. Couldn't be the West task, and African are only producers. Thank you, Peter. I'll be in Rwanda on 5th. Yeah, you have somebody there. Hopefully we can meet there. Rwanda, Peter, you're already getting guests waiting for you to network with you there. Thank you, leadership. Very informative protocol that was from Winnie, and I can see a lot of funding and necessary funding. Wait a minute, it was a bit longer one. Africa need more of this information to find its feet. It is our only best approach to raise Africa. Great speakers and content. Wow, youth, you got a really good approach. Their funding and access to market remain the highest barrier to our content startups, and until this is acquired, it's required addressing Africa. We will if we don't address this, the Africa will suffocate. That's very true. Thank you, Oliver and the team. That's a message to you. The message is coming in. I know this was a very time where most of you are busy on your businesses as African women in trade. We chose this time so that we can accommodate also the youth, and as well as others who will be listening this after on YouTube. I can see a lot of you. Thank you for all those who joined. And also wanted to applaud our moderator of today and also read out about her, because we didn't mention about her. She's a very dynamic woman, as she's written, speaker who specializes in enterprise development for women and youth in South Africa. Currently, she is full-time Bachelor of Commerce student. She is the founder of One and One Talk channel, and I am really delighted to have her here. Have successfully hosted several events, including Program Directors Youth Award, books launches, quite a lot of work that we have done there. I want to appraise you as well, and Akutula Shange. You are doing amazing work. Being here, one of our moderator of today, we really appraise you. And I also want to thank those ones who I can see some few of you on Mary Yukubo all the way there as well on Facebook. I can see Western Hetley, Yvonne. I can see Erie Farm Irrigation System from Kenya is there as well. Grace, and I also see Elsie also joined as well on YouTube channel. More and more of you will be here listening to this. We have all recorded on YouTube, but a very good important message I have to give back here with all those presenters. As you heard, they have a lot of messages. They are youth doing a lot of work at their time. You can see one left her job, went straight to doing carpentry. I'm amused. I want to see all those furnitures coming up. That's the whole idea here, is to support the youth, and entrepreneurship need a lot of passion. You heard that from Oliver very well. I also learned a lot from Oliver, being one of the youth of the platform. I learned a lot. As adults, we should learn also from our youth so much, and that's why I'm so excited to the new program that is coming up. And most of you women, I'm looking forward that you're going to take advantage of these topics. As you heard, there's a lot of how to pitch, there's a lot of how to even to go to the IP, and this is going to be coming more and more. And I'm wondering what you're asking now. We've done the African women in Nigeria, we did a webinar for Kenya, we did a webinar for South Africa and Ghana, and now we did the youth as well. And you're wondering now what webinar will be coming. So this is the news. The webinars are gonna continue, but this time we're working on our members. What will be happening? We'll be inviting special guests coming to tell you exactly the way it is. We give them the all attention. We'll announce to you very early so that you can prepare your questions. And some of them, maybe you know them like SheTrade. Who are SheTrade? What do they do? What can I do with them? And how can they support me? They have done a lot of work with so many of you. We can go for IP, get guests who are gonna give you. What about the Africa continent of free trade area? How far is it right now? Last time when we started, we were only given the overview. We want to know more about what does it have to offer for us all. And this will be happening also on Zoom. We encourage you to register on the website. So we'll be having 1 hour for that. And then we'll be having a breakout. Each country will be presenting to their own topics. And after that, we will be having a day room as well. seeing about how to pitch your projects after you have done, want to see what marketing you have. We'll be having a market access as well. Marketing webinar will be also part of this one big webinar, which will be happening each and every month. Now we know ourselves, we have been working a lot, and I've shared our vision of these coming few months that are coming up to next year mid. We'll be reviewing them again as we restructure ourselves to suit your needs and our needs. So I want to thank you, all of you who made today. It's a very afternoon, but you did amazing work, the youth. I want to appreciate you, Oliver. Well done. You have done a big job. And I want you also to maybe come back, because I need you to talk about your organization. We are hosting an event in November, and I didn't hear you mention that, because these are very big invitation for the diaspora and everybody else, and where they can find that information. I would like you to share with us here 2 minutes before we close. Please unmute.
Thank you so much, Joy. I'm deeply humbled by the support and the opportunity. But thank you so much for what you're doing for the continent. So the AIEC Annual African Entrepreneurs Conference is coming to Cape Town in person as well as online. It's going to be from the 23rd to the 30th of November. So we will be sharing a lot of information on how to apply very soon. I just saw Mosi has been in Cape Town last week. He will be the first one to come. He has been in Cape Town last week. But anyway, so we'll be sharing a lot of, so we'd like all of you to join our groups, both on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and on our website, so that we can be able to share more content with you. We are going to be addressing a number of topics, including intellectual property and innovation. You know, this one came out today a little bit earlier. We're also going to be talking a lot around value addition into industrialization. So there's lots of topics that are coming up, and how to elevate yourself the next level. This is very important. So we are looking forward to, to welcome all of you to Cape Town or online. We'll be sharing all the information on the platform. Thank you.
Thank you for that, and I appreciate that, because we'll be sharing more on that as we continue in the past. So I want to end this again with a video what we are presenting today to give you an idea what we had done today as we close off, and we'll be sharing this to all the members. Remember to register on our website, www.africawomenintrade.com. You can also email us, africawomenintrade at gmail.com. So that's the best way to reach us. I saw that on YouTube. It was asked.
Joy, one more last thing.
Sorry, I can hear Oliver is already screaming. You don't want us to close. Let me add him back. Yes, go ahead.
You are invited. You are invited to. I just saw you an invitation. You are invited to South Africa in March.
Okay.
You are invited, Joy, by Mosi. Yeah, he's gonna send the details. I just saw it on the chat. Okay, we can close down now. Thank you.
I know you want us to stay here forever. We have a place for the youth as well. Thank you so much, Oliver, for that. And as we continue now, we're going I'm going to close now with a video that we wanted to share with you much earlier, and we didn't have time to do that, so that you can be able to know more about today, what the discussion today was, and just to make sure that we do it correctly. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop to share that. But see you again next month. Check out on us. We'll be doing amazing work to make sure that you are able to know more about us. So until then, see you next month, and check out on our emails. Thank you.